100,000 Persian warriors stared down a Greek army on the blood-soaked fields of Plataea. Before darkness fell, the most powerful empire ever assembled would be shattered beyond recognition. This is the tale of how mourning transformed into retribution, how the fallen spirits of Thermopylae steered Greek bronze toward an unthinkable triumph. A decade after 300 Spartans sacrificed everything at Thermopylae, their kinsmen would claim a debt paid in enemy blood that history would never forget. Western civilization itself hung by a thread. By this video's end, you'll witness how Greece transformed guaranteed annihilation into legendary victory, why Persian bodies clogged the Asopus River until it ran crimson, and the single fatal blow that rewrote history's course forever. You'll uncover the catastrophic miscalculation that sealed 100,000 Persian fates, the secret nighttime repositioning that nearly shattered the Greek coalition, and how one commander's fall triggered the most devastating massacre the ancient world had ever witnessed. But here's what Persian intelligence completely missed. Imagine this moment. August 479 BCE. Dawn's light exposes a scene that should have delivered certain Persian dominance. The Greek forces, exhausted, parched, fragmented across miles of barren terrain, confront the most massive invasion fleet ever marshaled. Mardonius, commanding on behalf of King Xerxes, observes what appears to be defenseless prey. Greek battle lines have disintegrated. Their renowned discipline has collapsed into disorder. Victory appears inevitable. Then something incomprehensible unfolded. In less than 6 hours, that colossal Persian host would be erased from existence. Not merely defeated, utterly obliterated. The impossible became reality. From this moment forward, no Persian monarch would ever dare set foot in Europe again. At the center of this transformation stands a single figure, Pausanias, Spartan regent, bearing the crushing legacy of his fallen cousin Leonidas. Today he commands not merely Spartans but the most powerful Greek coalition ever assembled. Today, Thermopylae demands its answer. Yet Pausanias confronts 3 riddles that threaten total disaster. Why would Mardonius surrender his fortified stronghold? What cryptic intelligence convinced the Spartan to gamble everything on a treacherous night maneuver? And how did scattered Greek battalions transform complete chaos into devastating victory? To comprehend this annihilation, we must revisit the ruins if you're captivated by history's hidden stories. Those decisive battles where empires crumble in hours. Smash that like button and subscribe for more epic historical warfare content. Now let me transport you back to 479 BCE, when Greece's bleakest moment became its most magnificent triumph. Year 480 BCE, Leonidas and his legendary 300 lie cold at Thermopylae's narrow passage. Their sacrifice purchased precious time, but the cost was unspeakable. Now Xerxes' war machine thunders southward unstoppable. Athens becomes an inferno. The Acropolis, that towering symbol of Greek excellence, transforms into ash and memory. Refugees flee to neighboring islands, watching helplessly as their beloved city dies across the water. This is where Pausanias reveals his brilliance. He doesn't merely inherit Leonidas' bloodline, he shoulders his sacred burden. As regent protecting Leonidas' young heir, every Spartan warrior looks to him for vengeance. But vengeance demands cooperation, and Greeks are infamous for despising each other nearly as much as they despise Persians. Meet our cast of commanders, Pausanias, the unexpected avenger. A man never meant to lead armies, now commanding Sparta's entire military force. Aristides the Just, commanding 8,000 Athenian warriors consumed by thoughts of retribution. His city lies in smoldering ruins. His people scream for Persian blood. Opposing them stands Mardonius, Xerxes' personal hammer, the king's own cousin, handpicked to complete what Thermopylae began. But here's what makes Plataea fundamentally different from every previous engagement: unity. For the first recorded time in Greek history, ancient rivals stand shoulder to shoulder. Spartans alongside Athenians, Corinthians fighting beside Megarians, 40,000 elite hoplites from 24 independent city-states bound together by shared fury and desperate necessity. Consider the magnitude of this moment. These cities have slaughtered each other for generations. Their ancestors were mortal enemies. Their deities demand different worship. Yet here they assemble, shields interlocked, because the alternative is slavery. This transcends military alliance. It's a genuine miracle. The Greeks bring more than unity to Plataea. They deploy the most formidable heavy infantry the ancient world has ever produced. Each hoplite carries 50 pounds of gleaming bronze armor. Their shields mesh together in the terrifying phalanx formation. Those 12-foot spears outreach anything in Persia's vast arsenal. Man for man, they're worth 5 Persian soldiers, but Mardonius commands 25 warriors for every single Greek. What transpired next contradicted 10,000 years of military wisdom. Mardonius doesn't command merely Persians, he leads the empire's vassal nations. Immortals clad in scale armor, Median cavalry, Indian bowmen, Egyptian spearmen, Thracian swordsmen, 100,000 warriors speaking 50 languages, armed with 3 continents' wealth. The stage materializes 9 miles south of Thebes, where the Asopus River carves through dusty plains toward Mount Cithaeron. Here, geography determines destiny. Greeks desperately need water but cannot reach the river. Mardonius controls the plains where his cavalry reigns supreme. Neither force can attack without catastrophic disadvantage. For 11 agonizing days they observe each other, probing, testing, waiting. But the Greeks possess one advantage Mardonius never anticipated: their defending home. Every man witnesses smoke still rising from burned cities. Every Spartan remembers Thermopylae. Every Athenian tastes ash when southern winds blow. Then intelligence arrived that changed everything. A secret communication that would transform Greek disadvantage into Persian catastrophe. But first, the armies must position themselves for history's most decisive confrontation. How do you combat an empire commanding half the known world? Dawn breaks over Plataea. Mardonius surveys his greatest asset, overwhelming numerical superiority. 100,000 soldiers blanket the plain like swarming locusts. His Persian guard alone outnumbers the entire Spartan contingent. But numbers reveal only partial truth. The Greek force centers on 10,000 Spartans, not Thermopylae's 300, but an army that remembers those 300 with every heartbeat. Leading them are veteran warriors who trained beside Leonidas. They've waited a decade for this reckoning. Beside them march 8,000 Athenians under Aristides, their city's destruction seared into memory. The remaining 22,000 arrive from across Greece. Corinthians seeking glory, Megarians proving courage, Plataeans defending their actual homeland. This is where Greek discipline became Persian nightmare. Each hoplite trains from childhood. Their bronze breastplates deflect arrows. Those helmets restrict vision but maximize protection. That famous round shield, the hoplon, doesn't just defend its bearer. In formation, each warrior's shield protects the soldier on his left. Individual heroics mean nothing, formation is everything. Yet the Persians wield their own strengths. Mardonius commands the empire's finest, 10,000 immortals whose ranks never diminish. When one falls, another immediately replaces him. 20,000 cavalry, the world's most skilled horsemen, wielding composite bows that outrange Greek javelins. 70,000 infantry from across the empire, each unit bringing specialized combat skills refined over generations. Here's the historical puzzle scholars still debate. Why did both armies choose Plataea? For Mardonius, it's obvious broad plains favor his cavalry, but Pausanias deliberately marches to terrain that disadvantages Greeks. Unless he knows something Mardonius doesn't. The answer lies in intelligence. A Theban noble named Alexander, secretly sympathetic to Greece's cause, attends Mardonius' war councils. What he reports changes everything. But Pausanias cannot act immediately. First, he must position forces exactly where Mardonius expects them. For 11 days, the armies probe each other. Persian cavalry raids Greek positions each dawn, arrows blackening the sky. Greeks huddle beneath shields, unable to strike back. In just 17 minutes, everything shifted when Persian riders discovered the Greek water source, a spring behind their defensive lines. They contaminate it with dead horses and refuse. Now 40,000 Greeks face death by dehydration under the merciless August sun. This tactical innovation changed warfare permanently. Mardonius pioneered strategic dehydration, forcing enemies to relocate or perish. But Pausanias had been anticipating this exact scenario. He needs justification to reposition forces without arousing suspicion. The fouled spring provides perfect cover. As darkness descends on the 11th night, Pausanias orders something unprecedented: a complete tactical withdrawal under darkness's cover. 40,000 men must move 3 miles in perfect coordination, in absolute silence, to new positions near fresh water. But maneuvering an army at night resembles herding cats during a thunderstorm. Units lose contact, commanders misinterpret orders, some flatly refuse to move. Then came the sound that froze Persian blood, or rather the absence of sound. Persian sentries expecting to hear Greek movement hear nothing. Have the Greeks fled, or is this an elaborate trap? One Spartan captain named Amampharatus refuses his orders outright. He plants his unit standard and declares, "No Spartan retreats from any enemy." This isn't mere bravado, it's a crisis threatening to shatter the entire alliance. If Spartans won't follow Pausanias, why should anyone else? But wait, it becomes even more chaotic. As dawn approaches, the Greek army stretches across miles of broken terrain. Athenians have reached their designated position. The center has completely vanished into olive groves. Spartans remain exposed in open ground, arguing with Amampharatus while Persian scouts observe in disbelief. Mardonius cannot believe his fortune. The disciplined Greek army has dissolved into pandemonium. This is the moment he's anticipated. He orders immediate attack. But first, an omen nearly stops everything. Greek priests examining sacrificial animals declare the signs unfavorable for battle. Pausanias confronts a commander's worst nightmare. Enemy cavalry thundering forward while his men stand paralyzed, forbidden by the gods to raise their spears. Then came the night that nearly destroyed everything. Dawn, August 27, 479 BCE. Persian scouts race back to Mardonius with incredible news. The Greek battle line has shattered. Spartans stand isolated on a ridge. Athenians cluster 3 miles distant. The center has completely disappeared. After 11 days of flawless discipline, Greek unity has collapsed into chaos. Can you hear it, the thunder of 20,000 Persian cavalry mounting up? Mardonius sees victory gifted by the gods themselves. His generals urge caution, this could be a trap, but the scene defies logic. Spartans stand vulnerable in open terrain. A mere 11,500 men including allied contingents. Easy targets for arrows, perfect prey for cavalry charges. This is where the story takes its brutal turn. Mardonius orders his mounted archers forward. They sweep across the plain like a plague unleashed. Composite bows sing. Arrows descend like lethal rain on Spartan bronze. But watch what happens next. The Spartans do something that still haunts military historians. Nothing. They stand absolutely motionless. Shields locked, spears grounded, men fall pierced by arrows finding gaps in bronze. Blood seeps into dusty earth. Still they don't move. Pausanias stands at their front, hands raised toward heaven, praying while his warriors die around him. Picture this scene from a Persian archer's viewpoint. You're galloping past the most feared warriors on earth. Your arrows strike home, men fall, but the formation doesn't waver. Not one Spartan breaks rank to pursue you. It's unnatural, inhuman, terrifying. Now imagine you're a Spartan hoplite. Your shield arm burns from maintaining position. Arrows clatter off bronze like hailstones. The man beside you gasps, an arrow through his throat. You step over his corpse, close the gap. You've trained for this moment since age 7. Leonidas died like this at Thermopylae. Today you'll prove worthy of his sacrifice. But Pausanias faces a crisis deeper than arrows. Greek religious law forbids fighting without favorable omens. Priests keep examining sacrifice victims. The signs remain negative. Persian cavalry wheel and charge. Each pass costs Greek lives. How long can discipline hold against death? Here's where superior equipment became mass slaughter, but not yet. First, the human drama unfolds. Callicrates, considered the most handsome man in the entire Greek army, takes an arrow through his lungs. As he dies, he doesn't mourn his life, he mourns that he'll die without striking a blow for Greece. This is Spartan psychology distilled. Death means nothing, failure means everything. 3 miles away, Aristides faces his own crisis. His 8,000 Athenians can see dust clouds from the Spartan position. They know their allies are under attack, but between them and the Spartans lies the bulk of the Persian army. To reach their allies means frontal assault against impossible odds. Then physics itself seemed to favor the Greeks. The morning sun rising behind Greek lines blazes directly into Persian eyes. Mardonius must attack half-blind or wait for better light. But momentum matters in battle. His men's blood is up. He orders the general advance. This is the moment empires learn to fear democracy. As 50,000 Persian infantry surge forward, something extraordinary happens. Without orders, without coordination, every scattered Greek unit begins moving simultaneously. Athenians advance toward the Persian center. The missing Greek center emerges from olive groves. 24 city-states, acting independently, choose the exact same moment to attack. But the real shock was yet to come. At the Spartan position, priests suddenly declare the omens favorable. Pausanias drops his hands and screams a single word, now. 11,500 bronze spear points drop level. The phalanx that seemed broken snaps into perfect formation. They charge. Think about what this means. Persian infantry, advancing confidently against stationary targets, suddenly face a bronze wall moving at full speed. No time to reset formations. No room to maneuver. The greatest army on earth is about to discover why Greeks dominate the battlefield. But Mardonius had one final card to play. He spots Persian forces colliding with the sudden Spartan charge and makes a fateful decision. Rather than organizing fighting withdrawal, he personally leads his guard cavalry directly at Pausanias' position. Kill the Spartan commander and Greek morale shatters. This single moment decided Western civilization's fate. Two forces rushed toward each other, Spartan bronze discipline and Persian mobile firepower. In the next 60 seconds, history pivoted. The collision occurs at the small temple of Demeter. Sacred ground becomes killing ground. Persian cavalry crashes into Spartan spears like waves against cliffs. Horses scream, men die, bronze meets flesh with sounds defying description. Then Mardonius makes his fatal error. Seeing his cavalry falter, he dismounts to fight on foot. A Persian commander's place is behind lines, coordinating, but Mardonius, perhaps remembering how Leonidas died fighting, decides to lead from the front. What the Persians didn't know, every Spartan had memorized Mardonius' appearance: purple cloak, white horse, golden armor. When he dismounts, a ripple of recognition runs through Greek ranks. Target identified. The mistake that would cost him ever. The moment Mardonius sets foot on ground, Greek spears orient like compass needles to iron. But first, the wider battle explodes across 3 miles of dusty plain. This wasn't tactics, it was destiny. At the Asopus River, Persian infantry makes their catastrophic error. Seeking to exploit their numbers, they surge across shallow water. But rivers create choke points. As thousands crowd the banks, Greek physics takes over. 12-foot spears outreach 6-foot Persian swords by exactly the distance that matters, life or death. Let that number sink in. Persian front ranks die without ever touching their killers. They push forward into a wall of bronze points driven by the weight of comrades behind. The river runs red within minutes. Bodies jam against each other, creating human dams. Still they come. Now watch what happens next. At the Spartan position, Mardonius leads 1,000 immortals in desperate assault. These aren't conscripts, they're the elite guard who conquered 40 nations. They fight with skill and courage. It doesn't matter. The phalanx is a meat grinder in human form. Here's where Greek rage became Persian nightmare. A Spartan named Leonidas spots Mardonius 20 feet away. Between them, a wall of dying men. Persians defend their commander with their bodies. Spartans press forward, stepping on corpses, shields grinding against shields, spears probing for gaps. The killing intensifies beyond anything in ancient warfare. Men can't raise their arms in the press. They stab blindly under shields. The wounded can't fall, crushed upright between friends and foes. The August heat turns the battlefield into a furnace. Inside bronze helmets, men drown in their own sweat. This is the moment you need to remember. As Mardonius rallies his guard for another push, fate intervenes through a single Spartan spear. History doesn't record who threw it, we know only the result. The spear takes Mardonius in the head, piercing his helmet just below the crest. The Persian commander, Xerxes' own cousin, conqueror of Athens, leader of the greatest army ever assembled, drops like a puppet with severed strings. In death, Leonidas achieved immortal victory. What followed wasn't battle, it was hunting. Persian morale doesn't just break, it disintegrates. The immortals, witnessing their commander's death, attempt fighting withdrawal. But you can't withdraw from a phalanx in full advance. Greek spears find backs as easily as fronts. Then came the signal heard across centuries. Pausanias, blood-covered but unwounded, raises Mardonius' golden helmet on a spear point. Every Greek on the field sees it, every Persian too. The impossible has become inevitable. Across the battlefield, Aristides and his Athenians hit the Persian center like a bronze avalanche. These men fight differently than Spartans, less discipline, more fury. Their city is ash, their temples are rubble, today they collect payment in blood. The Persian center, mostly subject troops, never stood a chance. Median spearmen trained for mobile warfare can't match Greek weight. Indian archers, deadly at range, become helpless when hoplites close. Egyptian infantry, brave but lightly armed, die in windrows. But the killing had only just begun. As Persian lines collapse, retreat becomes rout. 100,000 men try to flee across a single river. Greek pursuit turns methodical. No rage now, just workmanlike slaughter. Hoplites advance in formation. Spears harvesting lives like wheat. The Asopus becomes a death trap. Men stumble over corpses, fall, drown in 2 feet of bloody water. Persian cavalry, so dominant on open ground, can't maneuver in river mud. Horses panic, throwing riders. Greeks wade in among them, stabbing. This tactical innovation changed warfare forever. organized pursuit. Previous battles ended when enemies fled. Greeks considered it poor form to chase broken foes. But today is different. Today is for Thermopylae. Today mercy is forgotten. 6 miles from the main battlefield stands the Persian camp, a fortified square holding supplies, wounded, and camp followers. 40,000 survivors crowd inside, thinking wooden walls mean safety. They're wrong. The Greeks arrive like bronze death itself. No siege equipment, no time for starving defenders, just 38,000 hoplites who have tasted blood and want more. They hit the wooden palisades like a hammer hitting glass. What happened in that camp still haunts historians. Ancient sources go silent on details, saying only great slaughter occurred. Archaeological evidence fills the gaps. Layers of ash, thousands of arrowheads, human remains showing trauma from close combat. The camp became a charnel house. But wait, it gets even more insane. As Greeks storm the camp, they discover the Persian treasury. Mardonius traveled with a king's ransom, golden cups, silver furniture, jeweled weapons, the wealth of an empire abandoned by its dead owners. Some Persians fight to the death. Others beg for mercy in languages Greeks don't understand. It doesn't matter, from princes to slaves, all die alike. The only Persians who survive are those who fled before Greeks arrived, perhaps 10,000 from the original 100,000. Then came the death that sparked the massacre's final phase. Artabazus, the Persian second-in-command, makes his last stand at the camp center. He's already wounded, armor torn, but fights with desperate courage. It takes a dozen spear thrusts to bring him down. His death removes the last Persian capable of organizing resistance. What follows is simple butchery. Greeks move through the camp systematically, tent by tent, section by section. The efficiency is horrifying. By sunset, silence falls. The only sounds, carrion birds calling and wounded men moaning. Greeks, exhausted, blood-drenched, begin to comprehend what they've done. In 6 hours, they've destroyed the largest army ever to invade Europe. The impossible became inevitable. Democracy was born in bronze and blood. But first, one more detail. As darkness falls, Pausanias finds Mardonius' body. He's tempted to mutilate it. Persians had dishonored Leonidas' corpse at Thermopylae. But he refuses. We fought to be better than them, he says. Even in victory's fury, Greek ideals survive. As the sun set, the Esopus ran red. Dawn reveals devastation beyond ancient comprehension. The plain of Plataea, yesterday holding the world's mightiest army, is now the world's largest graveyard. Bodies carpet the earth from the temple to the river, a distance of 3 miles. The greatest army on earth became the greatest graveyard overnight. Greek losses fewer than 1,000 dead. Spartans lost 91 men, Athenians 52. The disparity defies belief until you understand the mathematics of collapse. Once formation breaks, disciplined troops slaughter fleeing mobs at ratios of 100 to 1. Think about what this means. Persia brought 100,000 men to Plataea. Perhaps 10,000 escaped. The rest lie dead or dying under the Greek sun. No ancient battle before or after achieved such complete annihilation. This wasn't victory, it was an extinction event. The immediate task is monumental. What do you do with 90,000 corpses? Greeks, respecting religious custom, burn their own dead with full honors. Each city-state builds its own funeral mound, Spartans here, Athenians there, others arranged by homeland. These mounds still exist today, 2,500 years later. But Persian dead receive different treatment. Greeks strip them of valuables first, armor, weapons, jewelry. The amount of wealth is staggering. Pausanias orders everything collected for proper distribution. No looting, discipline holds even in victory's aftermath. Here's where chaotic Greek forces transformed destruction into victory's reward. The spoils are divided mathematically. 1/10 goes to Delphi's oracle. Pausanias receives 10 of everything, 10 horses, 10 camels, 10 talents of gold. Each soldier gets his share based on merit and losses. The numbers are mind-bending, 70,000 talents of gold and silver, enough wealth to rebuild burned cities twice over. Mardonius' tent alone contains furniture worth a king's ransom. His war chest holds coins from 40 nations. Persian nobility traveled to war like mobile palaces. But the real prize isn't gold, it's freedom. As word spreads, Greek cities erupt in celebration. Athens can be rebuilt. Sparta has avenged Leonidas. The Persian threat that loomed for a generation vanishes in a single day. What happened next still echoes today. Pausanias orders Mardonius' tent preserved exactly as found. He invites Greek commanders to dine inside, serving 2 meals side by side, sparse Spartan fare and elaborate Persian luxury. His point is crystal clear: look what they had and what they tried to take from us. The contrast reinforces why they fought. Political consequences ripple immediately. City-states that wavered now claim they always supported resistance. Those who helped Persia face retribution. Thebes, which hosted Mardonius, sees its leaders executed. The new reality is clear: Greece belongs to Greeks. On the same day as Plataea, the Greek fleet wins at Mycale in Asia Minor. 2 victories, 1 day, spelling the end of Persian expansion forever. But Plataea matters more. Naval victories are common. The complete annihilation of a land army, that's the stuff of legend. Individual moments pierce through the grand narrative. A Spartan finds his brother's shield among Persian loot. The brother had died at Thermopylae. An Athenian discovers his family's household gods, looted when Athens burned. These aren't just victories, they're personal reckonings. The price of freedom was paid in Persian blood, but Greeks paid their own price too. Veterans return home changed. Men who have stood in the phalanx, who have killed at spear's length, don't easily return to farming. The shared trauma of survival creates bonds transcending city-states. This is where discipline defeated numbers, unity destroyed empire. Greek soldiers, for perhaps the only time in their fractious history, fought as one people. That unity wouldn't last. Within decades they'd war against each other. But for one perfect day, they stood together. Mardonius learned that Greeks remember everything: every burned temple, every enslaved citizen, every insult to their gods. Patient and methodical, they waited for the perfect moment to strike. When it came, they held nothing back. In the aftermath, Greeks make a remarkable decision. They swear an oath not to rebuild temples destroyed by Persians. Let them stand as ruins, they say, so future generations remember the price of freedom. Some of these ruins still stand today, monuments to both destruction and defiance. The most poignant scene comes days later. Greek armies march to Thebes, demanding surrender of Persian collaborators. The city, seeing Plataea's outcome, complies immediately. The age of Persian influence in Greece dies not with a bang, but with a whimper. From this slaughter, civilization emerged. The victory at Plataea didn't just save Greece, it saved the idea of Greece. Democracy, philosophy, art, architecture, all the gifts Greece would give the world survived because 40,000 men stood together on a dusty plain. But Plataea's true legacy would unfold over centuries. The Battle of Plataea marked more than victory. It marked the birth of Western civilization as we know it. Never again would a Persian army cross into Europe. The empire that had swallowed 40 nations learned that some peoples would rather die free than live as slaves. In the decades following Plataea, Greece experienced its golden age. Athens, rebuilt from Persian ashes, became the school of Hellas. The Parthenon rose where Persian fires had burned. Socrates asked questions in the agora that Persian rule would have forbidden. Democracy, saved by bronze spears, flourished in peace. But let's consider the what-ifs. Had Mardonius won at Plataea, there would be no Plato, no Aristotle, no foundation for Roman law or Christian theology. The scientific method, born from Greek logic, might never have emerged. The entire trajectory of human thought pivots on that August day. The battle's military lessons echoed through centuries. Discipline defeats numbers, unity conquers division, superior equipment and training create multiplicative advantages. Every Western military tradition traces its roots to the Greek phalanx that dominated at Plataea. Yet the human cost haunts us still. 90,000 dead in 6 hours, families destroyed across an empire. The Persians who died were fathers, sons, brothers, conscripts serving their king as Greeks served their cities. In victory's glory, we must remember war's tragedy. Modern parallels emerge whenever free peoples unite against authoritarian threats. From the beaches of Normandy to the streets of Budapest, Plataea's lesson repeats: united resistance can defeat seemingly invincible oppression. The price is always blood, but the alternative is chains. Here's the philosophical weight. Plataea asks whether civilization is worth killing for. The Greeks answered with bronze. Their answer created our world, flawed, beautiful, built on both glory and graves. We inherit both their achievement and their burden. Thermopylae was the question, Plataea was the answer. Leonidas asked whether freedom was worth dying for. Pausanias proved it was worth killing for. Between these two truths lies the paradox of civilization itself. The ghosts of Thermopylae guided every blade at Plataea. 300 Spartans died to inspire 40,000 Greeks. Their sacrifice became multiplied in victory. This is how martyrdom becomes triumph, not through dying but through those who remember and act. Today, tourists visit Plataea's quiet fields. Nothing marks the spot where 100,000 died. Farmers plow soil enriched by ancient blood. Yet the ideas defended here, democracy, freedom, the worth of the individual, shape our daily lives. The battle reminds us that history balances on knife edges. Single days determine centuries. Individual choices echo through millennia. Pausanias' decision to fight, Mardonius' choice to attack, a single spear thrust. These moments cascade into the world we inhabit. From bronze and blood emerged philosophy and democracy. From disciplined violence came ordered society. This is Plataea's darkest gift, the knowledge that civilization itself rests on the willingness of free people to stand together spears level when tyranny advances. The impossible became inevitable because ordinary men chose to be extraordinary. Farmers became hoplites, citizens became heroes, division became unity. And from their victory, Western civilization was born. Plataea teaches us that some battles are worth fighting, some stands are worth making, and some ideas are worth preserving with our lives. In a world that often forgets these truths, the bronze spears of Plataea still point the way.